going to fulfill it, that he's going to bring it to pass. I need you to trust God, the God that is inside of you, enough to know that if God brought you to this place, that God's going to bring you through this place, right? Again, I'm reminded of the children of Israel. I told you all that we would stay with this story, and so I need to see this thing out. Before I go into this next thing, I need to finish this thing out as we continue to study or look at the children of Israel, right? What we begin to see happens is as they were coming out of Egypt, they began to they were headed toward the Red Sea, right? And Pharaoh was pursuing them. He was on their tail. And the thing that I began to notice, the thing that I began to understand, right? The thing that I began to realize and to recognize is not so much that is not so much that the children of Israel, right? It's not that they, you know, let me just say this. They struggled with their faith. That's what I want to say. They struggled with their faith, right? They know that God had called for them to be free and all that. And they had heard Moses say it, but then they began to grumble and complain. And they didn't have it all together. They didn't have everything that they needed, right? I want you all to know, that oftentimes we think that there was something special about the people back then, or that there was something special about other than the fact that they were God's chosen people, right? And you and I, yes, we are God's chosen people, but other than that, right, there was nothing more spectacular about them aside from the fact that they were God's chosen people. And you are God's chosen person, right? So then, let me just say this. Let me just say this, right? If there was nothing special about them, no more than the same thing that's special about you, if there was nothing extraordinary about them, no more than what is extraordinary about you, if the same is true for them, then why would it not be true for you? If God did mighty, miraculous, wonderful, great things for them, then why wouldn't he do it for you? Why wouldn't he come through for you? If God did it for them, no, I want you to see this. I want you to see this. Why then wouldn't it happen for you? Yeah, yeah. I need you to grasp hold of this because I want you to see and understand. You've got everything that you need. The children of Israel, they struggled and wavered with their faith. You at one point or another have struggled or wavered with your faith, right? And your faith has been up and down. One day you trust and you believe and you standing strong and firm, and you know that God's gonna come through for you, and you ain't got not a doubt, a care, or worry because you know that God's got you, right? But then here's the other thing that happens, right? Then life begins to happen. Situations arise, just like what happened with the children of Israel. A situation arose. And when that situation arose, what happened? They were like, "Oh, Moses, you done brought us out here to die. You didn't." But I want you to know and understand that God spoke to Moses, and He said, "Moses, why are you crying out to me?" I'm paraphrasing, but you can go back and you can read this for yourself, right? Moses, He says, "Moses, why do you cry out to me? Well, why are you calling on me?" What does he say after that? He says, "What is it that you have in your hand?" Right? So I want you all to know you've got everything you need. It's right there in your hands. You've got it right there within you. All you have to do is trust the God. Like God's already placed it on the inside of it. If we go back, right? If we go back and we look at when where we started off with this, and we see um, where God was talking with Moses, right? And when God was talking with Moses, Moses had already given his excuses and was like, "Lord, I don't know. if I'm going to be able to, speak to the people, what if they don't believe me? He had already went through all that. And then God said, listen, look, take what's in your hand. So what he showed Moses, and I dealt with this last week. What he showed Moses was, Moses, I'm giving you power. I've endowed you with power, right? And matter of fact, Moses, it's not even about the staff that's in your hand, but it's what's on the inside of you. I've placed everything already on the inside of you. He said, Moses, lay your staff down. Moses, we read this last week, so I'm not going to read it again, right? But I'm just going to paraphrase. It said, Moses, lay your staff down. Moses put the staff down. It became a serpent, and Moses jumped back. He was scared. He said, Moses, don't be afraid. Grab that thing by the tail. He grabbed it by the tail. It became a staff again in his hand, right? Then he told him, Moses, put your hand inside your cloak, right? He put his hand inside his shirt to his chest, and when he pulled it out, it was leprous and white, and it looked like it was uh, a dead hand, right? Then he put it back in and he took it back out and it was fine. See, God was trying to show Moses it's not about the staff that's in your hand. So we get so caught up. Thank you, Holy Spirit. He really ministering today. And I hear him speaking. So as I hear him speaking, I'm trying to make sure I speak to you. But it's not even so much about the staff that was in Moses's hand, but it was about the power in Moses's hands themselves. Moses, and then not even just his hand, but within the power that God had already placed on the inside of him. Because see, the second time, it wasn't so much about what the staff did or what when his hand released it or grabbed it. What it was about. Listen, it was in your hand, but it's not just in your hand, it's within you. He put his hand to his chest, and when he put his hand to his chest, it became leprous. And when he took it back out, or put it back in and took it back out, it was normal again. That power is in you. You've got everything that you need already. You don't need some external force or some external person to come and equip you with anything. No, God has already endowed you with everything that you need. That's why he says, my God shall supply all your needs according to his riches and glory, right? He's already given it to you. He's already done the work. It's already like it's going to happen if you would just trust him. But what's the problem that we have? We don't we don't believe. We don't trust. We don't think that God is able to do what it is that he said that he's able to do. God told us, he said, listen, if you'll just trust me, right? If you'll delight yourself in me, I'll give you the desire. Like he told us. And that's what it's always been about. That's what it's always. Listen. If the children of Israel, I'm in the same vein, but I'm showing you something, and then we're gonna go a little left field to get there. If the children of Israel could have just gotten themselves together enough to trust God completely, they wouldn't have had to worry about a thing a day in their lives. Even in the place, let me just share this with somebody, even in the place where they were mumbling, where they were grumbling, and where they weren't complaining, God was still good to them. Even in that place, God still spoke to them. God still like ministered to them and gave them everything that it is that they needed, right? They needed food. What did he do? He provided food, manna that fell from heaven. They needed, whatever it is that they needed, he provided for them while they were yet mumbling, grumbling, complaining. While let me help you see this, because see, I need you to understand. See, we often think, oh, I gotta get right, or I gotta be right in order for God to bless me and to do certain things. Let me show you this. I'm not trying to excuse anybody's bad behavior, but I see we've got to get out of this mindset that says that God's only gonna bless us and do good for us only when we're perfect. God loves his children. And even while the children of Israel were down there, I'm just gonna be plain. I'm gonna be real with somebody. And again, I know this isn't popular talk and it ain't good talk because we want everybody, and I agree with this. We do want everybody to be saved. We do want everybody to be right, right? To get right, to live right, to do right. But but I cannot stand by and say that the only way you gonna be blessed, right, is if you do everything right all the time. You're not gonna do everything right all the time. For all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. If you're trying to be perfect on this side of the earth, let me just tell you, you're going to disappoint yourself because none is perfect but the Father, all right? And the one who died upon the cross. We're going to make some mistakes, even from the point and time of being saved, coming to the knowledge and the salvation of Jesus Christ. We are going to make some mistakes. So anybody who tell you, I'm perfect now. Ever since I done came to Christ, I'm perfect. I ain't said no more since I came to Christ. Be careful. Okay. Now, what am I saying there? Again, God says He lets it rain on the just as well as the unjust. He lets it rain. He pours out, certain blessings and things upon those who do right by Him and those who don't do right by Him. So even then, when we go back and we look at the children of Israel, while Moses was up on Mount Sinai or Horeb, or rather, where he was up in the mountain, and he was receiving the Ten Commandments. What we say the Ten Commandments, although we know there were more than 10. Right, while he was receiving the commandments for the people, they were down there worshiping golden calves and having orgies and doing all this manner of crazy stuff, right? Stuff that they had no business doing. They were up there or down there doing that while Moses was having a time with the Lord, receiving instruction from the Lord. And he came down, being Moses, right? Came down and saw all that was happening and was like, man, Aaron, what's going on, man? What is up with the people? Like, what are y'all doing? But can I tell you, even during that time, God still made sure that He gave them manna from heaven. Because I want you to see, and then somebody said, well, why are you taking time to talk about this? I want you to see that this dream that God has been giving you, this dream that God has given you of what it is that He's called for you to do. I know you've been saying to yourself, all right, well, I can't do it until I get right. I can't do it till I stop sleeping around. I can't do it till I stop, But can I just tell you, God's not waiting, and it's not for He wants you to be right. Again, I've got to say that. I said that once already. Let me say it again. He wants you to be right. He wants you to get right. But can I tell you that God will take you just as you are? That's in salvation. That's in all of it. That's in all of it. Like He wants you to fulfill everything that He has placed within you, even in the midst of your mess. Because I promise you, if you'll start walking that thing out, I promise you, if you'll get started on that thing, you'll begin to see the fulfillment. You'll begin to see yourself, right, in the place that God has for you. And you'll come out of that mess. You'll come out. I promise you, it always starts with just a step. It always starts with just, you taking, if you would just get into position, then I promise you blessings will begin to flow. Things will begin to happen. Doors will begin to open. But you've got to get into position and into place where you can be trusted by God and where God can trust you to do what's right. And it starts with you getting your faith up. It starts with you saying, okay, God, I trust you. I ain't always been right, and I'm not fully right now, but you've placed something on the inside of me, and I can't allow my sins. I can't allow myself. I can't allow nothing. I can't allow nothing to stop me anymore from doing what it is that you've called me to do. All right. I've got to do it. Yes, holiness is still right. Yes, holiness will always be right, but God will take you just as you are right where you are because he's already equipped you. That's what I love about. That's what I love about, right? What Paul was talking about and what Paul was saying for them who he known, right? Those who are his children. He's already called them. He's already equipped them. And they're good to go. And all God is waiting on is for them to say, I accept, I acknowledge, I receive, I believe. And that's what I need to encourage you in on today. That's what I want to encourage those of you on today. God has given you this vision, this dream, and you've been saying, I've got to get it right. And then I'm going to go to the church, and then I'm going to start doing this. And then, listen, no. You can't get it right by yourself. You need God. But at the same time, let me say that stop using that as an excuse not to do what God has called you to do. Do it while you're still where you are. And then while you're doing it, while you're getting yourself in position, see, there's something to be said. And I gotta make myself a note here. I'm gonna do that as soon as we end this. But there's a sermon that I've got to preach. The Lord just gave me I got an instant download from the Lord talking about position. All right, position. We're going to talk about position. It may not be, or maybe toward the middle or the end of this month, we're going to talk about position. And I want to show you how oftentimes position can get you it right in place for a transition. Sometimes you've just got to get yourself in the right place. You've got to get yourself in the right set of circumstances. And that's when breakthrough happens. Glory to God. I ain't going to preach that sermon now, but the Lord just gave me an instant download on that sermon, and I'm going to share that with you all. Position. It's all about position. And if you would get yourself in the position by doing what it is that God called you to do, you'll begin to see things will begin to happen. You'll see turnaround begin to happen. You'll see salvation enter into your life and into your family. You'll see people, places, and things beginning to align and get right. It ain't got nothing to do with stars and numbers and energies and none of that. It's all about what you do for Christ, what it is that you do for God when you get yourself in position. All right. I don't tell you, I could go on. I could go on even further, but let me just say, friends, you cannot sit back. You cannot sit by. You cannot just say, oh, I'm gonna get myself together. No. Trust the God in you. Trust the God in you. Don't trust in yourself, but trust the God in you to know that God's given you everything that you need. And what you feel like you don't have, know that God's already got it and it's on the inside of you. He's already endowed you. You've just got to allow yourself, right, to be released into it. All right, I want to play two songs for you. All right, I want to play two songs for you. The first one is by the Clark sisters, and it simply is entitled Endow Me, right? But then I want to play another one for you. It is by none other than Mr. Daryl Coley, all right? It's by Daryl Coley, and it's simply entitled He's Preparing Me. I absolutely love that one, and I think somebody needs to hear that one on today. So we're going to have first, like I said, we're going to have the Clark sisters with Endow Me. Then we're going to have Daryl Coley with He's Preparing Me right here on I Am Encouraged Radio here on 93.5 KPPM.